Hi, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency. Hello, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency call. I'm super excited to be on with you today. First, thank you for joining me live. It is always a great pleasure to spend some time with you guys live. Why? I think we're the only live show left in sure, we are insurance. So I'll say the only live show left in insurance. If you want to say hi where you're joining me from and Marysa, drop where you're joining us from in the chat below, and we will say hello to you and welcome you to the call. Super excited to have her on today. I have known Marysa for, I think, years now. But she's always been someone who just works hard. She's super focused, diligent in her craft. Her partner, Rami, is an incredible producer as well, and they built an incredible business, over $600,000 per month issue paid within their agency. We'll get Rami on here in the future, but super excited to have Marysa on with us today. Multi-year Hall of Fame producer means she has issued and paid over $400,000 to herself, meaning clients she protected, leads she bought, clients she protected, and money she made in a calendar year multiple times. So super excited to have her on with us today to talk about what she's doing in the business, what she's focused on, her script, her act, her practice, what she does, and how she gets her agents to the next level. Because $600,000 a month, I mean, she's on the doorstep of a Hall of Fame agency, which is $10 million issue paid in a calendar year. So super excited to have her on with us today to dig in what she's doing in her business. You're going to absolutely love her. And as I always like to talk about, the club promoters of the 90s with those cards they're flicking when they're walking around on the streets or putting them in your car, putting them on your windshield. A party is more fun with more people. So just like any good party, so is this training call and influencing other people, right? Alex Hormozi talks about we gain status from a group by the value we give to it, not for which we take, for the value at which we give. And giving value to the group means what are you adding to those in your circle? What are you adding to those? And the value you could add right now is sharing this link, Join America Live, or that we're live on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, and letting other people on your team, your prospects, recruits, people cross line. Hey, multi-year Hall of Fame producer is going to break down what she does, what she says, and how she sells at such a high level. Oh, and also how she's building a team to over $10 million a month. So invite people on this to join with you. They will only find value if you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Where's the loss? So super excited to have Marysa on here in just a few minutes. We're going to jump through some updates, but share that link out with your team. Let them know Marysa's coming on. JoinAmericaLive.com. We try to make it simple, and there she is. So super excited she'll be on here in just a minute. But while she's coming on, hit those group chats, WhatsApps, Telegrams, GroupMe's, what are they all? Slacks, Discords, you know, all the different places where people communicate. Let them know Join America Live. Marysa is coming on, and they want to meet her. She's going to be fantastic. So without further ado, let's jump into some updates. Our agency in the first 4 weeks of May is just I say this every week now because I need another language that I could start speaking thesaurical words in of synonyms for incredible. But just an incredible amount of production. Our agency, 4 weeks into May, we're still waiting on the 5th week of May, the last few days to reconcile. When you're doing $1 billion annually in commissions, it takes a little bit longer than some of these companies that would hope to only do what we do in a month in the entire year. So, we're laughing yesterday about a competitor we have and how their team had sold 13,000 for the day yesterday. And we're like, oh my gosh, watch out for them. And then here we are as an agency doing $28 million, $28,551,058 issue paid in the first 4 weeks of May by 2,977 agents. Truly humbled and blessed by the partners that I have in this incredible company, this incredible opportunity, but also for all of you who are new out there, looking for a place, Natasha, the TV, looking for a place to figure out where they can hang their hat. Where is home? Where should I stay? Where should I build? Can I trust this company? Can I trust these people? Can I trust this opportunity more so than the one I was sold already? And that's always the philosophy, right? I mean, why should you trust me? Why should you trust Marysa? Why should you trust any of the people that you're hearing about Family First Life? The answer would come into the numbers. That's what I would base it on, right? Why should I buy XYZ stock? Why should I invest in XYZ, company? Well, the philosophy should be predicated on what are the results they're having. And if you can look at our track record and you look at our numbers, you look at us starting in 2013 at 0, and this year in 2016, we're going to do over $1 billion in sales and commissions paid to our agents. That seems like a good chance for you to make it too. So to see these numbers here in May, $28,551,058 issued, you mean clients of insurances put in force and then paid to the agents that protected those clients by 2,977 people. That should give you a lot of faith and trust that you should hang your hat here and run at it. So if that excites you, drop a 1 in the chat. Good to see Dominic from Phoenix, Craig, hello, Tom from NYC, Thomas from Blacksburg, Virginia, and who else? Yeah, there's a bunch of people from all the kinds of places. So if that excites you, I'm excited because this is just a great place to be. And granted, we're not perfect, and we're going to make some mistakes, and we're going to apologize for them, but we're going to do our best to continue on and pursue into the future. So great to everybody on the leaderboard. We'll give some more shout outs next week. Company-wide for May, completely blew the cover off the ball. Our agency did 29 million. The entire company did $96,929,576.41. Holy moly. Of month to date life paid premium in May, 808,712 total riders. This is entire Family First Life. You can see Americo on there. We did 28 million with them. Ethos, my eyes need to get better. Ethos, 18 million. Transamerica, 10 million. Mutual of Omaha, 8 million. American Amicable, 7 million. Those are our top 5 issue paid carriers. We love them. We're so grateful for our partnership and relationship with them. But what's true is that if you can see these numbers, what piece do you have? What piece does your agency have? What piece do you want to have of what we're doing here? Because when you look out in the marketplace and there's 160 million Americans out there that are uninsured, underinsured, or in the next 6 months, if their primary wage earner would die, that family could not financially survive. The opportunity has never been better for us to go out there and protect American families. So we're super grateful, proud of the 8,700 people to do. You look at, let's just do some quick math here. If you're new on this call or you're with us on this call, you've been here for some time, 8,700 and a 96 million. I don't have my slide rule right now, but I believe that means that over 10,000 per month per agent was issue paid. Our average agent earns over 10,000 a month. Now, this is full-time agent, results not typical, results not guaranteed. Some agents blow this off the ball, and some agents issue a policy worth $200 and everything in between. You've got to decide what piece of this pie do you want, because it's an infinite pie. We can continue to grow. There are billion and multi-billion dollar companies out there that survive in this insurance space. What piece do you want? So super proud of everybody out there. Congratulations to this agency, and also incredible congratulations to Family First Life as a whole. We're knocking on the doorstep. I'd imagine June is going to give a run at it. If not, July will do it. We will be over 100 million issue paid in a single calendar month with life insurance alone. Absolutely incredible. Total year to date, $429,075,317.17 by 14,032 total unique riders. You can see the trend. In January, we were doing 71, and now here we are in May, 97 million. And that's with people being out of the field with Ignite. So I can't imagine what June's going to come down. I know a lot of people are really pushing for 100,000 issue paid in June alone. So if you're looking for the next level to get to, we're the place where you can hang your hat at. So moving on. Our insurance sales guide, always a little plug. We did a tremendous job. Myself, Natasha, and her team worked like crazy to build this incredible resource for everybody. Unlock the insurance sales guide. Top producers rely on but rarely share. InsuranceSalesGuide.com. Go there, type in your information, and we will send it right to you. No questions asked, no fees, no nothing. We took all of our best training, all of our best resources, and tried to put it together in one place. People learn multiple different ways. tactile touch, audibly, visually, and we're doing our absolute best to give you different ways. Here's visual. I'm also talking. If your eyes are closed right now, listening, if you want to something to touch, get this thing and grab it, and you'll have a copy of this here today. If you go to insurancesalesguide.com, put your information and we will send it to you. We also have it in Spanish for our massively expanding Latino team. Shout out to Digna de Leon Morris and Luis Cabrera, our two gigantic Latino teams that are taking the world by storm, who have promised to have over 1,000 agents in seats at our Ignite event in Florida. We'll talk about that more here in a second, but we have both versions for you. So if you're looking for something else to read, if you're looking for something that's little summarized, go grab a copy of this. It is free. We go through why life insurance, complete detailed product knowledge, mindset, leads, scripts, presentation, objection handling, referrals, etc. So very, very detailed, and we give it away for free. So go take advantage of that today. Still loving inbound leads. It is the future. I believe Trey told me we are taking right now 4,000 inbounds a day. So if you're, if you started in the business with me and Marysa, where you're driving door to door, from across the entire great county or wherever you live, you're driving 300, 400, 500 miles a day. If you remember those days, right? Paper apps and paper leads and driving all over the place and knocking on doors and them not home, and you had an appointment at 5 o'clock, but they're not there. So you come back at 7:30. Now there's a car in the carport. So you knock on the door and you go, "Oh, Mary, I'm so sorry. I missed our 5 o'clock. I was busy serving another family, but I'm here now." And she's like, I wasn't even home. And you kind of, then you push your way in, you get to the table, you sell insurance, and, you pursue this business. If you remember the good old days, and then now we transition to running campaigns all over the internet, educational websites, social media, getting leads, the good old days. And now the good nowadays are inbound leads, where literally my phone will ring and it will be, "Hello, this is Grady, the life insurance department." And it's someone calling me to buy life insurance. The future of this business with TCPA compliance and all of the, complexities that it takes to generate leads on the internet. If you can be at home or in Hawaii or Colombia, like Tier Brown, or on vacation in Mexico or on vacation in the Dominican Republic, and you can have Wi-Fi signal, you can protect families in insurance. And the inbound model is something that is exploding. I believe our vendors, heard by Trey, our CIO, let him know. I told him that. He's our chief inbound officer. Has said we can take up to 100,000 inbounds a day. That's what's available out there in the marketplace, and FFL wants to be the biggest buyer of them all. So we're crushing on so many levels, from IULs, final expense, term, but now to have the option of inbounds from all the dark days when we had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to sell insurance, of paper apps and driving all over the home, to now we can sit it and sell a trans final expense from our phone up to $100,000. The future is bright, guys. And so if you've been looking for an opportunity, this is it. Get to the person who invited you on this call and ask them about these inbounds and the nearly 50% close rate some of our top producers are seeing from them. So moving on. Dominican Republic just announced 11 days ago our next contest, issue pay over $300,000 between June 1st and May 1st. So April 30, end of April. So you have 10 months, issue pay $300,000, all expenses paid, trip to the Dominican Republic, on top of our incredibly high comp, on top of our FFL agency and producer bonuses, the carrier trips. FFL throws a trip at you too, an incredible trip right now. They're planning for Puerto Rico. Before that, we've done 2 cruises. And there was another one in there. We're just got all kinds of producer trips to reward you, the hardworking producer that's buying the leads, protecting the families, and out there each and every day down the phone and working so hard to take care of the families and making money for your own. So Dominican Republic just announced, print this out, put on your goal board, set a goal, take your spouse, take your kids, tell your significant other, I'm going to miss some stuff for a little bit while I'm building this skill set. And on top of that, what's going to happen, we're going to take a beautiful trip down to the Dominican Republic, all expenses paid, and get to rub elbows with the top producers in our entire company. And super excited for this, to have this opportunity for our agents. Just Insurance has done a tremendous job for us. I'm seeing tons and tons of people passing their first time. GetYourInsuranceLicense.com/FFL. Traditionally a $200 course. We negotiated down with our buying power down to $39. And we've got a great relationship with Excel. That's a free course we offer, and we've offered that for a decade. We're going to continue offering that to you. We cover the cost. But if you're a bad test taker, if you need something with a little bit more hands-on, if you've tried and failed already, then this is a coursework they're guaranteeing nearly 95% pass rate if you get in and follow what they do. They've got 40 hours a week of live trainers on there. So if you struggle with a certain section, they can break it down for you. Make sure you get in there. Make sure you can pass that next time you go sit for your test and get yourself that license. Because once you have the license, you're in the club, right? Everything. We're just talking about the future until you get that license. So go out there, plug into one of our great tools, getyourinsurancelicence.com/FFL. And if you've got an agent base that's you want to make sure they get licensed, this is the way to go. If they don't have $40 for the coursework, they probably don't have any money for leads. So it might not be the best prospect to begin with anyway. So just some ideas, but continuing on. Ignite. Just broke records, broke every record we could possibly have tried to think about breaking that we didn't know were records we could possibly break. 3,600 people in attendance at the Dream City Church. Absolute incredible event. I've heard nothing but positivity. Only thing I've heard was they wish it was longer. That was the only thing I heard. But absolutely incredible event coming off of this just the past week or two ago. The days run into nights and nights run into day when you're doing this business full time, because it's just every day is a great day because you're helping people, you're serving families, you're helping agents get going. So was it 2 weeks ago? I don't remember, Natasha, like 2 weeks ago, but it was incredible. And so what do we do in good fashion? We have our annual convention. We do Ignite here on the West Coast, Ignite on the East Coast. And now here we are launching it. We've done minimal promotion. Natasha told me just yesterday, we have over 1,000 people registered already for this event. So it's a free event. We're not a lot of barriers to entry. Now we've got a huge premise off of FFL on the East Coast. So super excited for this event. 134 speakers came across stage at this past event. I think we're going to push the needle at nearly 200 because we have a 2-part event or 3-part on it. Ideally, this is a bigger event. It's all still free, but like Wednesday night, we now have a meet and greet. We had limitations to the Phoenix venue just because it's a church predominantly. So they have like service and, worship and stuff that they're like, hey, we're not going to move Jesus around just so you can mingle with America. We're like, okay, we understand. So everybody showed up the day before. Well, now this is at a beautiful convention center in Fort Lauderdale called the Broward County Convention Center. I think it's brand new. It's stunning. If you look it up, you're like, that place looks cool. Like cruise ships pull up to it. So it's going to be pretty cool place, for all you social mediators, you'll like taking pictures and whatnot there. But Wednesday night, we've got a meet and greet from 5 to 7. All the carriers will be there. Please come get registered. Start live at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning and go till 5. Looking at probably a 60 to 90-minute lunch. And then boom, starting at 6 o'clock to 9 p.m., the Latino event. So we have a tremendous surge of Hispanic, Latino, Spanish-speaking agents, and we want to support them in every way, shape, or form. So Luis and Digno will be spearheading that event, and can't wait to see what comes together. But that will be from 6 to 9. Maybe it'll go till 10. They tend to dance a lot. It's going to be a whole thing. So if you just want to be entertained, stay for the evening. But 3 different events at the Broward County Convention Center on September 10th. Meet and greet the 9th. And just be there, but over 1,000 registered. So please share this with your team. Get registered. We have a limitation of 6,000 people. We would be blown away to see that many people come, but also nothing surprises us anymore. Doing $97 million in May as an issue paid as a company. So we know people love to come together. So please put this on your calendar and plan to join us. A to Z curriculum on everything from why insurance, how to sell at a high level, overcome objections, referrals, different scripts, product training, like the best training we could possibly put together will be at this event. So we look forward to seeing you there. And one final thing, and then Marysa's coming on, is a project that has been looming in my head for 5 years. Shout out to my brother, Stephen Yee and Trey Honeycutt. And I'll tell you a quick story. There's a guy named Mark Hoverson, rest in peace, one of my mentors early in life. Sadly, he passed away at 39 due to pancreatic cancer. Going off on a tangent here, but it's important. Mark had a life insurance policy. And when they found out he had pancreatic cancer, he was able to pull the living benefits out of his life insurance policy and went down to Houston and was able to get special treatment that prolonged his life. And this is a story I would tell every time in the home on the value of living benefits, because we don't know what will happen. We can't predict the future. We don't know we can't, right? That's why we sell life insurance, because we're preparing for the unpredictable. And so an amazing thing about that situation is it prolonged his life for almost 4 more years when he found out he had pancreatic cancer, that he could spend more time with his wife, with his 4 kids, all due to having life insurance. Well, Mark used to teach this concept as a mentor called the $1 Million Day. And the $1 Million Day was a thought process that if someone was watching you and going to pay you $1 million, how efficient could you be? How much could you get done? How hard would you work? And it was always built around, like, if you're going on a trip or going on a vacation or going out of town or something, how much do you get done the day, the week before you're going out of town, right? You're like, all these things are looming. And so I bring that together because this is a project that has been built up in our head. Mine and now Natasha gets to work vicariously through my chaotic brain and gets to deal with the trauma that I live with behind my own eyes, but then also helps me facilitate it. Well, that being said, this has been something that has been wanting and needing to be updated for 5 years. Now, 4 years, because we did it 5 years ago. It's our company overview. Now, my brother, Stephen Yee, did a tremendous job on the last one, and we've called it the Rogue IMO. It's an overview on what our company is from A to Z, where our opportunity fits. And so we felt, long story short, thank you, Mark. We filmed it yesterday. We have it at our editor today. He said it looks great. And ideally, we should have a brand new company overview live next week. And if that excites you, drop a 2 in the chat below as a video that you can now share with prospects, agents, people in other companies on why our company is what it is. And so we go through, who is Family First Life, 13 years in business, $4 billion in sales. We talk about the red jacket. We break down compensation. We talk about how our aggressive compensation up from 80 to 145, our FFL standards being highest industry commission rates, direct carrier to agent payments, vest renewals day 1, bonuses, leads, free sales tools, free training, independent, no fees, break down how incredible our CEO is, drop a little bit of a hammer on that we've done $4.7 billion in sales, and close them with start your business today, get back to the person that shared this video with you. My goal in recording this is to give you guys a great tool that I wish I'd had for the past 5 years. But now one that you can now share with people who are looking at this industry, who are looking at this company and why they should partner with you. I send them back to you over and over and over again. My only goal is to create a great tool that we tell our powerful story, our incredible stories. We sit here now in in this unique economic climate with whatever's going on outside of your office and outside of your phone and your leads, and understanding that all you've got to do is focus on what matters about you growing your knowledge and you growing your skills so you can protect families and make money for your own. So I do my absolute best in this. We'll get it out live to you next week. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it. I hope it helps you build your business. And my only goal is to do everything I can in my power to make this the best decision you've ever made by partnering with us here at Family First Life. So without further ado, one final commercial. A party is more fun with more people. Join America Live across the top. Share that in your group chats, your WhatsApps, your Telegrams, your Discords, your Slacks, etc. Let them know Marysa Maggio, a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time, 17-time Hall of Fame producer, is about to come on sharing what she does, how she builds her business to such a high level. And on top of that, she's leading a team to over $600,000 per month. So without further ado, let's bring her on.
Hey, Grady, how are you doing?
I am amazing. How are you, Marysa?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for having me on this call today. I don't take it lightly, and thank you all for jumping on, and I'm really excited for it.
I love it. Well, let me give you a good, quick, proper intro, and then we'll jump into the fun stuff. All right. Hello, everybody. Grady Polson here. Welcome to the America Agency Call. Super excited. Marysa Maggio on with us today. She has I guess you're a vet if you're over a few years, right? I mean, just the way entrepreneurship works, but a seasoned vet, multi-year Hall of Fame producer, leading her team to over $600,000 per month in issue paid volume, and just an all-around great person. Every time I see her speak, every time I hear her train, every time I see her interact with agents, I go, holy cow, what a high-quality person. So we just had the good fortune of seeing her crush it on stage at Ignite. She speaks at conventions. She's spoken probably at every Ignite we've had. She will be on stage at Ignite in Florida coming up. And all of that being said, like, she's got a mindset and a discipline that is one that she's developed over the years in this industry. And so that was so important to me. I'm so honored you're able to come on and give us some time, but thank you. But I'd love more so than anything, the people to get to know you, get to meet you. Now, so give us some background, some insight. How'd you find insurance, and kind of catch us up to where you are today?
Yeah, so first and foremost, again, thank you so much for having me on today. I don't take it lightly, and thank you all for tuning in because it means you actually want to excel in your business. So shout out to you. Just to kind of give a quick background of how I got into the industry. In 2013, my mom passed away, and I was blessed to have her as long as I did. She was diagnosed when I was 10 years old with stage 4 breast cancer. She lived till I was 19, which was a beautiful thing, and I'm forever grateful for. Now, that being said, when my mom passed on, a lot of people were telling me, like, maybe you should take some time off of school. Maybe you should. And I was like, okay, like maybe I should like worry about like what Marysa has to do. Now, when my mom, before her, departure, so to say, one of her wishes to me was, or her main wish to me was, Marysa, whatever you do, just make sure that you're making an impact on somebody bigger than something greater than yourself. And that always sticks with me. Now, I was still in college. I wrapped up college. I was barely 20 years old just because of how the time went or whatever. And my mom always wanted me to get my degree. So to be really transparent, that's probably why I stayed in school. I just wanted to, fulfill her wish, so to say. I got that degree and I came out of college. At the time, my sister and I were living in an apartment together. And I had went home and it was like literally like 2 days after I graduated. And I looked at my sister and I was like, Christina, like, I'm such a loser. And she's like, okay, like, what are you talking about? Like, she literally walked by the kitchen. And I was like, I graduated college. I have a bachelor's degree, right? I thought that was so important. I have a bachelor's degree and like, I'm serving tables and bartending. Like, what am I doing, right? Now, at that time, I didn't necessarily need to beat myself up, but what I did is I took action. So I went on Craigslist at the time, all right, just to age me here quite a bit. 2015, Craigslist, summer 2015, applied to a couple different positions. One of them sounded really interesting, but it wasn't necessarily telling me exactly what was going to happen at the job. It said there's leadership opportunity, growth opportunity. Basically, you're not just going to come in and stay where you're at. And I was like, well, that sounds appealing to me. I applied to a couple jobs, walk into this interview. It's about life insurance. Now, being that I just lost my mom about a year before that, I was like, maybe this kind of fell into my lap for a reason. I don't know. They made me feel really special. They were like, oh, you're great. Only like 5 people are going to get chosen. So like, hopefully you're one of them. Basically do a good job. And they did an overview. Now, in that overview, the most attractive thing to me was residual income. This was a captive company. I ended up joining. So I was one of the 5. And by the way, they called everybody back. I just want to be really clear on that. But, at the time it felt like, okay, like, wow, like I was important. And in joining the company, I learned a lot about sales, like a lot about sales. I learned a lot about the psychology behind it. But what else I learned is if you can come to somebody with a direct approach versus a bait and switch, you're probably going to be in a much better situation. So I was with that company. It's a 3-letter acronym, captive, doing a lot of no-cost benefits and then transitioning into insurance. Like, hey, Grady, here's some child safe kits for your kids. And now we're going to talk about insurance. And you're like, what do you mean? You told me you're going to just drop some things off in my house. Like, I'm confused. And then we just kept going and it was like an hour and a half. So if you've ever been in that boat or you're like, I don't know if I should get myself out of this boat, like you should. So I now, Grady, first time I ever see a lead. Now, what I'm realizing as I'm kind of getting like a little bit older, because like you got to give me a little grace. I was like 20, 21 years old, doing this, right? So I thought it made sense. I was like, oh, this makes complete sense, like the no cost benefit, right? Now I was working it. I was getting results, but in the beginning it was really hard. The first month I made no sales. After that, I kind of picked it up, but I didn't want to be known as like the person who like knocks on random people's doors and like tries to sell them life insurance. It just didn't seem like a good long-term approach. So I now see a lead for the first time and it's somebody else who's at the company and we were just like hanging out and she's like, this is a lead. And I was like, you're telling me that somebody filled the form out. It was a mortgage protection lead at the time, a mailer. I'm like, no one filled that out. Like it's fake. Call them. Like I was like, call them. Like do it right now in front of me. Ring, ring, answers. Oh yeah, I remember filling that out. Like 123 Main Street. Yeah, come on over. Like, okay, Saturday at 1. And I was like, what? I'm like, people actually request life insurance and I'm over here like trying to bait and switch people. That doesn't make sense, right? So all in all, I ended up leaving, that company. I went to a different IMO. In leaving that company, really what I realized is like, it was more like kind of felt like more like cult vibes, I guess we could say. Yeah. I mean, I got a call from the owner, like I was going to ruin my life if I left. And so on and so forth. I guess I ruined my life because I left. That being said, fast forward, I see this lead and I'm like, okay, I'm all in. So I'm not at FFL yet. I want to be clear, but I'm introduced to the IMO world, if you will. I'm introduced to leads in the IMO world. And at that point in time, that was so attractive to me. I remember thinking like the return of premium was the best thing since sliced bread. Like I could sell it to anybody. I was so excited about it. But really what I realized when I walked into that company is the first thing I did was sign a contract, which, okay, I mean, like whatever, sure. I didn't even read it, if I'm being 100% honest. And I signed the contract. Now I'm on social media, and this is like, I don't know, like 2017, give take, right? And I see an advertisement or something that with Sean on it. And I'm like, I want to work with that guy. Like that guy, so I call my upline and I'm like, hey, I just saw this ad for like with this guy Sean on it from like Family First Life. Like, I think I might go there. And they're like, you already signed a contract. You're like, that's not how it works. And I was like, okay, like that was like our introduction. So that was kind of awkward. So I kind of moved on from that, worked the business, was able to get results. The culture really wasn't it for me. I'm not on like this like work-life balance. And respectfully, if you are, I'm not until I get where I need to be. The work-life balance thing was just like throwing me off, like how that was like always a topic of conversation. So I had to get out of there. Now, that being said, throughout the time that I was with that company, I got a message. I got quite a few messages, but I got a message from one individual who went back and forth with me on LinkedIn. And basically was like, hey, I'm in your area. I have like, BPLs or, buy per leads that are in like your counties where you live at. I'm willing to give them to you if you just come on over here, basically. And I was like, I'm so happy where I am, like, so on and so forth. Now, he was persistent. I will absolutely give him that. Everybody's going to have a bad day. I need you guys to know. And now a bad day isn't, I had a chargeback. A bad day is like, I don't think the people around me are supportive of me. I don't think they want to see me win. And I have a lot of evidence to prove that that's true. Okay. Now let's not like get ahead of ourselves. But my point is I didn't feel supported in that company anymore. I had to be out. So now I was so rude to this individual that messaged me on LinkedIn, like so rude. Like I read it. I actually pulled it up to read it back to myself. And I was like, wow, I can't even read down the call because I was so rude. But basically what I said was fly a kite. I love it here. The culture's awesome, so on and so forth. And that was in October 5th of 2017. Now we're going to fast forward, guys, because I'm making a point here about social media follow-up. I get a message. This is almost 2 years later, June 22nd of 2019. Hey, Marysa, been some time since we have been in contact. How are things going at ABC Company? And I was like, can you call me? That was the day for me. Now, did it take a year and a half and I rashed his life and had to like apologize and like, I'm so sorry. Like, and it was awkward, sure, for a hot minute. But then I was like, okay, what I need to realize right now is I'm getting out of insurance or I'm going all in insurance. It's one way or the other. So I ended up having the opportunity to meet our CEO, Sean Mike. After sitting down with Sean, there was literally nothing ingenuine that I could find about Sean, which like, if you know Sean, you know that. And yeah. I was just like, okay, kind of like, maybe I just found my home, which I did find my home. So that's really how I kind of got into the industry and how I've come to FFL. And I always say, like, if I could send all my agents to the first 2 companies I work with for like a week, like, I think they would all come back and be like, oh my God, like, we love it here. We like, everything is way easier. Like, so I think that sometimes we have to realize if this is the first company you're in, welcome to the industry. And you literally, like, you woke up in a Ferrari. So congratulations to you, but utilize the opportunity. Don't take advantage of it. There's a huge difference.
It's so powerful. And thank you for the detail and sharing. And I love that you went into that because so many people are at a company. Give her some love. Drop some MMs in the chat below. Appreciate the fireballs, Brent. Because this is a journey. Many of you are showing up now, right? We've got the skyscraper built. All you got to do is just, you got to walk up the stairs, but they're nice stairs, right? You know what I mean? This isn't a dirt lot out in the back of wherever, out in Connecticut that we had to start this thing in and fast forwarding to where we are today. And so for your experience though, of going to the captive company, seeing a different IMO, hey, work-life balance is wonderful, but the ability to go all in on what you're trying to accomplish and being in an environment where the top people aren't being shouted out on stage because they wrote 8,000 this month, Like I got a list this morning of, we've got multiple people over 200,000 issue paid for May. Multiple. This is just selling life insurance, guys. So you can come here and you can work incredibly hard. You can change your entire family's identity in a short period of time, but it requires an incredible amount of work. And so for you to have seen that, for you to now be here now 7, 8 years later, and obviously the best decision. I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth, but I love you giving the detail, because that is so true. And if you're looking for a home, start here. And if you're unhappy with where you're at, give us a chance to, we've got some issues. We got problems. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect anywhere. But at the same time, we're going to do our absolute best to make sure this is the best decision you've ever made. So thank you for the detail. Let's jump into, I'd love to jump into, now as a seasoned producer, right? I've been selling insurance for an extended period of time, right? The new agents out there are looking for someone to model. What is your day-to-day? What are your non-negotiables? What are your principles? And then from there, I would love to jump into kind of some word tracks and scripts and things that you say, because I know you're so gosh darn good at selling insurance that, everyone that's here, you're in for a treat. So let's kind of get into those sort of specifics on how you approach what you do.
Yeah, so I know that when I came into FFL, essentially, Grady, I up and moved. So I grew up about 10 minutes from Boston. So right in the city, that's what I was used to, these city vibes, so many people around, everything's live. But the city I grew up in, essentially, I'm just going to be quite frank, at the time, people were dropping dead from drugs. I didn't want to be around that. I didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want to be pulled into that directly or indirectly. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to move. So I moved about an hour and a half west, which is the middle of Nowheresville in Massachusetts. And it was a lot closer to the corporate office. So I went from being problem focused to solution oriented. So every day when I wake up, I'm not, this is the problem. It's okay. This is the solution. And if I don't know the solution, I reach out, I get help, right? So being extremely intentional about how you're viewing things. If you feel like, and guys, any one of us could probably sit back and my mind is so crazy. The mind is a crazy thing. It's a powerful thing. But my point is you got to get control over the understanding, problem focused versus solution oriented, and being intentional. When you have tunnel vision and you're just running, it's nothing can mess you up. The chargeback ain't going to mess you up. The agent that, left and never tried or showed up, it's not going to mess you up. You're just going to keep moving. So every day, Grady, I always wake up and, it might sound corny, but one of the things that I've been working on in the last 5 years or so is, just my relationship with God. So I wake up, I thank God for waking me up. I get out of bed. I drink at least a full bottle of water because I'm always dehydrated. And I go ahead and get about my day. Now I usually spend about 10 minutes with God, so to say. And then I usually go work out, get ready, and get right into business. So guys, when you have a layout of what's going to happen the next day, you don't wake up and you're like, what am I going to do today? You wake up and you're like, this is what I'm intentionally doing and choosing to do to make sure that my results are there. Now you might be like, well, the gym ain't going to get you results. Facts. The gym is not going to get you results in sales. But if the gym's going to get you results up here and get your mindset right, go do what you got to do. Right. So get to the gym. And then I end typically with a 10-minute meditation, just bringing positive vibes my way because that's who I am. And that's what I like to do. So then go about my workday. Now, some non-negotiables for me is I am not allowed to complain. Okay. When I was a child, I used to complain about everything. I would be the hot dog bun is slightly burned. I can't eat the hot, stop, just stop complaining. It's going to make your life so much easier. If you're worried, right? You're sitting there, you're worried that I don't even know if this is going to work. I don't know. And you're freaking out or you're panicked. The best antidote I know for worry is work. Get to work, be intentional, tunnel vision, give it a try. To Grady's point, some people are on here right now asking can I trust this opportunity? I'm telling you openly, I was about to be out of the industry. This opportunity saved me, my family, and my business because if not, I was out. So essentially, some of the things that I do intentionally are I don't complain ever. I show up at the same exact time every single day. So my agents know where I'm going to be. Everyone kind of knows where I'm going to be. I'm not confused. No one's confused working alongside me because everything is just very structured. Now, did that happen like overnight? No, but don't be so hard on yourself, but work on it, right? Like it's a working, but work on it. So those are some of the non-negotiables like that I treat, Grady. And I feel like that, if you work on your mindset, it's going to pay off in your business tenfold.
I love it. Those are huge. I'm nearly identical to same things. And it just, you find peace in that. And, if your mind is clear and you feel like you've already accomplished something, a lot of people are like, make your bed and, and make sure dust the fan. I'm like, well, I need to take care of this brain, because if this thing's all stressed out and chaotic, then, and I've got a good workout in, I know that I'm going to function better because I've burned off some stress or too much energy that I didn't need. And now I can only focus on something that matters, which is progressing in business. So I love that. And do not complain. I have 4 children and I am trying to not beat. I'm trying to help them not complain as well, because we have a very nice life. So you should be grateful. But how do you teach gratitude to someone that is never moving on? But at the same, these are phenomenal life lessons. I'll make my daughter watch this. So let's talk about so just from some specifics, like, are you on the phone at 8? Or do you have appointments? Do you have a dialer? I mean, I imagine you have a multitude of things, but maybe what you do, and then kind of what you'd advise new agents to do from a structure standpoint on a week, right? How they can get into it. Like some people are like, I dial from 8 to 12, take 2 hours off and dial from, what are some specifics that people can go, well, she said to do this. She's a rock star. I'm going to just copy her. And then let's jump into script after that.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of like schedule, my schedule looks the same. I work Monday to Saturday. I'm on the phones at 8. I'm off the phones at 1. That's 8 to 1. I take a little break, like 2, 3, because I feel like those are like the less pickup hours. And then I'm back on the phones from 4 to 7. So it's like, take those couple of hours, run errands, do what you got to do, but like get back on the phones. The part is you got to get back on the phones for sure. And then on Saturdays, I wasn't always like this. When I first got started, I worked Saturday and Sunday because I wanted to get where I needed to go. Saturdays, I personally now work 8 to 1. But I'm like, if I have to work 8 to 5 because it makes sense, I'm going to work 8 to 5. I got to work 8 to 8. That's fine. But showing up at 8, I think the biggest thing is making sure you're there at the time you say you're going to begin and actually beginning at that time. I do have a dialer, Grady. Now, I'm just going to be very transparent on this call. I don't necessarily like co-sign a dialer. Like, I don't think it's right for everybody. But I use a dialer in hopes to be able to supplement some of that time to help out the team, so to say. So I do dial out, but I also do have a dialing along.
I had this exact call with an agent literally yesterday. She was like, in her second month, tell me about how she had a dialer. I was like, you're not even that good on the phones yet. The dialer will only ever be like 70% as good as you are. And they're going to start out being like 30% as good as you are. And then you've got to coach them up to 70%. And your skill set of being able to close more appointments you have and follow up and move kind of a sale that might be falling off to a sale or pivoting to an accidental is the only way you're going to create profitability. Marysa's been doing this for a long time. So yes, a dialer is a resource that you can look at as your skill set gets to a level where you're at that 5, 7, 10x return on your lead spend, but not something you should be looking at in the first 6 months ever. And so, I loved you clarifying that because it is so important. But guys, the crucial parts is developing the skills so that when you get on the phone, you can move the client forward. So awesome. So you have a dialer. And then is there amount of leads you're spending per week, amount of leads? And then what is like your bottom baseline goal production that's going to have you dialing at 5 p.m. on a Saturday if you didn't hit your goal? Like what are your drop deads for Marysa?
Yeah, so every week I set myself to submit minimally $10,000 in business, which at this point I'm thankful to say usually is not a problem for me. However, if I'm not at that 10,000 by Saturday, I know I'm going to be taking some more inbound calls. In terms of lead spend, my lead flow is a little bit, I would say maybe debatably different than other folks. I do a lot of aged. Now you might be like, she's cheap, she does aged. No, I do a lot of aged because the ROI on aged is huge. You might be like, well, I'm hand dial. I get it, guys. I was too until like 6 months ago. It's not that deep to call people. Like, trust me, they're going to answer the phone or they're not, right? So I spend about $600 to $800 a week on aged mortgage protection digital leads, and then I supplement with inbound leads. I feel like it's the most essentially time effective in terms of what I'm trying to do with my schedule. You can turn the inbounds on, and next thing you know, your phone's ringing. To Grady's point at the beginning of this call, definitely like the future. And when they're calling you, it's like, how are they really get? There's not a whole lot of objections they can have at that point, you know? Like, you called in, you saw the life insurance ad, and here we are. So like, let's do it.
I love it. Okay, so let's do this. Will you give us your inbound script and like what you say, how you do, what your inbound is, and then let's maybe even pivot from there to, and you said you work a digital mortgage, so I'd love to kind of get both from you, and that way we can share this out, and people can go, well, this would be someone that I should copy, and I would say yes. So I love your inbounds, because it is. I mean, you know, we were in the car, paper apps, paper leads all over the country. I mean, 2017, there was digital what? You know what I mean? You're like, I used to tell the story about Muti Ali having to do mouth swabs in the homes of people. And like, that's what it was. And now they call you. Guys, it doesn't get simpler than it is today. I can't make this more. We can't say this any other way. I need to learn how to say it in Spanish and then Mandarin and Portuguese. I'm gonna learn a different language, how to say it. Doesn't get simpler. But I'd love for you to kind of expand on that, and then tell us what you're doing, how you're handling the inbounds, because it's a phenomenon right now, which isn't going away at all. So,
absolutely. So I'm working predominantly on Integrity Connect. The Ringba inbounds is the 90-second buffer, and I answer the phone. You know, this is Marysa Maggio at the life insurance department on a recorded line. Are you calling about the final expense or life insurance coverage? They're like, final expense coverage. Great. And what's your date of birth? You know, 9/3/53. Great. And correct spelling of your first and last name. In what state do you reside in? All right. Are you looking for insurance for yourself or for a loved one? Okay, great. And then I'm just going ahead and I'm jumping in. So in terms of your sales presentation, whether it's an inbound, it's an outbound, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. There's really just a couple of things that we want to accomplish through the call, and to make sure that our client feels comfortable, we feel comfortable knowing that the client understands what we're talking about, because that does matter, guys. And they're with us. We're able to build that value. So who are you, right? On an inbound, you're the agent assigned, like you're the agent that's going to help them with their life insurance, right? Like on an outbound, you're the agent who's going to help them with their life insurance. So no matter what, you're just the agent sending credentials, right? Like if somebody's weary in the beginning, you know, if I call Grady and he's like, yeah, I don't really know if this is like a scam or something. I'll be, okay, Grady, hey, no big deal. Well, check your text messages. You're going to see my, you know, Arizona license, and you're also going to see my NPN. Let's just jump right on the Arizona Department of Insurance website. I'll show you how to look me up. It will take 2 minutes. And I have them verify me. Do I do that with everyone? No, but if they're being weird in the beginning, you got to know why they're being weird. If you provide your credentials, they're still being weird. Essentially help them look you up. It's not that deep, right? It takes 2 minutes. So after they know who you are, right, you establish your credibility. This is something that I've always held true to me, Grady, since I was in the home. I think there's only a couple of things, so to say, that you can do in every single appointment, no matter what the appointment is. And it's what I refer to as my role and purpose. So whatever you want to call it, we're essentially laying down what we're going to do today, how we're going to do it, and we're getting all of the objections off of the table. Guys, the objections that we commonly get are, I can't afford it. You know, I'm gonna do some shopping around. I don't need it, right? It's like, so we're going to overcome those right at the beginning. So, and I'm going to do the role and purpose just like I would, Grady, because I feel like it might help out some folks in terms of actually setting the stage. So let's just say I'm on the phone with Grady. I'm going to tell him, all right, so Grady, great. You got my license. Beautiful. All right. So before we jump right in, Grady, I do just want to quickly tell you who I am and really what my job here is today. Now, Grady, I'm what they refer to as a state underwriter or a state broker, simply just meaning I work together with the state of Arizona on one end and the life insurance companies on the other end. That being said, I'm not individual or partial to any one company. I'm much more individual to you and your family to truly do the shopping around for you. So Grady, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, you know, the mortgage itself to make sure I understand how things are set up. A bit about finances and plans you may already have in place, because if you don't need the coverage, I'll be the first person to tell you. And then a little bit about your health, not to be intrusive, just to make sure whatever application that we do take today, we're going to get you approved and we're not going to get you declined. And then last but not least, we do all have a budget, Grady. So we just want to make sure any application we take today suits your needs, also suits your budget. We'll do our best to make them work together. Does that sound fair? Yeah. And it's like, and usually they're like, yeah. And at that point, Grady's like, yeah, okay, I just pretty much, I didn't sell him, but I pretty much sold it, right? I got all the objections off the table. You'll have that random person who's like, I'm not making a decision today. And to be honest with you guys, that's like my favorite person. You know, like I think back to the field, Grady, and I'm like, you know, going to like Robert's house and Robert's like, I'm not going to make a decision. Like when you come out and show me it and you're like, all right, Robert, no worries. And you get there and you're sitting down with Robert and Mary and they're like, we're not going to make a decision. Those are the people who are going to make a decision, guys. They are buyers. That's why they're saying that. They're feeling pressure. But I tried to relieve some of the sales pressure in that role and purpose. So I hope that made sense. So who are you? Your role and purpose, so that they're not caught off guard. They're not getting kidnapped, so to say. At the end, they can't be like, oh, I want to think about it. It's like, Grady, I just told you at the beginning, we're going to take the application. Like, what do you mean? Like at that point, I'm just confused. It doesn't make sense to me. So it doesn't happen often. Now, that being said, building value is going to be huge. You can have the best role and purpose, but you have to build value through questions. Now, what do I mean by that? It can be really uncomfortable because I remember the first couple of times that I asked these questions, like I literally remember it, like fully remember it. And I was really uncomfortable. And I was like 20 years old. And I was like, you know, so John, if you had passed away last night, Mary, what does that look like for you? And then John would start talking and be, John, respectfully, you passed away. Mary, what does that look like for you?
Yes.
We're focusing on the beneficiary, guys. If you can look at this, like, I'm going to bat for the beneficiary, not like I'm trying to make a sale. Like this is a family who needs help and the beneficiary needs help when this person dies and not in a good situation. So, you know, like, what does that look like for you, Mary? And she's like, probably she's going to explain. She's going to be tongue-tied just like I am right now. And she's not going to be able to probably explain it, which essentially is going to lead to, that's why we're on the call today. Now, let's just say it's a mortgage appointment. You know, Mary, if John had passed away last night, are you able to keep up with the monthly mortgage payment? What does that look like for you? Would you have to move in with a relative? Like, would you have to take your kids out of the school system? Like, what does that look like for you? Guys, we're making it real. When you can paint a picture, like that's all you have to do. Grady told the story at the beginning of the call, which was a sad, but you know, help shows us why life insurance and living benefits are so valuable. It's like, guys, don't forget what we're talking about here. Like we have to ask uncomfortable questions. We're talking about death. Like, it's like, have you talked about it with your loved one? Ask yourself that. I had to about a year ago. I was like, oh, well, no one knows what to do if I die. It's probably not good because I'm in life insurance. Now, so asking power questions. Who is the first person that you're calling if John passed away last night? What does that look like for your daughter if you passed away last night? If the daughter's, you know what I mean, not there. There's a multitude of different ways, but you know that you asked good questions if you hit on who, what, when, where, and now I know why I am here. Now I know why you sent the request in. They're selling you when you're asking those questions. If you don't ask the questions, the next person might, and that might be the person that helps them out, or they just might never get life insurance because most people only want to talk to a life insurance agent once, and if they don't like the experience, they think it's a bad experience. So don't make it a bad one. So build value. Use close-ended questions. Don't ask questions that you don't necessarily know the answer to. We're making sure we're building value. Once we build that value, when I say, like my agents know, and I say, now I understand why I'm here, they know that there's value that's been built and that the client essentially sold me on why they need the insurance, right? So that's really important. And when you start to do that, you're going to talk to your clients with more conviction because you know that the value that you can add. You've had people tell you stories. This is what it would look like, so on and so forth. And you've been able to essentially solve the problem through a product. Like, don't lose sight of that, guys. What we do is making a big impact. After I build value, I'm gonna pitch options. Now, some people will pitch options like, all right, so option A is for $10,000 and that's going to be $120 a month. Option B is 20 and that's going to be $200. Option C is 30 and that's going to be $300. Which one best suits your budget? Now, Like, just like, it's getting that hard. No, like that's not how you sell. Like, you have to explain what it is and what it does. Okay. You can use A, B, C, you can use bronze, silver, gold, do your thing, whatever. I like to show 3 options. At that point, I'm explaining what it does. Okay. Like, this is what it is, and this is what it does for you. Right. So if I'm showing, as an example, final expense, like let's just say hypothetically to Grady, and we're going to age him and make him like 75 years young. Okay. So there we go. Right. So if I'm showing options to Grady, and let's just say he says he wants to be buried. Okay. I'm going to show him maybe, and this, don't quote me on these numbers, guys. This would depend on their income, etc. I'm going to quote Grady, maybe an option A, B, C of 15, 25, and 40. Now, after he writes those numbers down, 15,000, 25, and 40, I'm going to say, okay, Grady. So option A, we're looking at, again, whole life coverage, just like we just spoke about. I explained that whole life. You got all the advantages of that. Perfect. We're looking at whole life coverage for 15,000. Just like we talked about, Grady, the average cost of a burial today is give take about 15,000. So this would ensure when you pass away that Miss Mary's going to have the 15,000 to take care of that burial. Does that make sense? He's like, yeah. He's like, how much does that one cost? I'm like, Grady, you're jumping the gun on me. I'm going to go through all 3 options. Then I'm going to give you the cost. Okay. And he's like, all right. If you make a joke, like, or you make like hey, you're jumping the gun on me, like, they're going to stick with you guys. Like, just rock with them. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, option B, Grady, is for, 25,000. We're taking into account your burial, but you and I both know the average cost of bread, water, food, you name it, is on the up and up. Over time, the average cost of final expenses is going to increase as well. Here, you would be protecting Mary, for your burial, as well as taking into account that inflation. Is that making sense? And he's like, yeah, got it. All right. And then moving to option C, Grady, we're looking at covering you for $40,000. Of course, your burial would be covered. We're taking into account inflation and leaving a little bit extra behind here for Mary to make sure that you're not just leaving her with, the burial. Any questions? And he's like, no. All right. So Grady, if we're looking at that option A, we're looking at $100 a month. Option B, we'd be looking at $150 a month. And option C, we'd be looking at $200 a month. Now, taking a look at those, Grady, if you were to qualify, which one best suits your needs as well as your budget? And stop talking. Like, just stop talking, right? Zip it. It might feel like it's an hour. It might feel like it's 10 minutes, but like they're thinking, they're processing. So give them a minute, and don't be like, well, don't interject into, well, what I think you should do. They're going to ask you. They're going to ask you if they're like, I'm thinking about this. They're going to talk to you, right? So let's just say, Grady's like, I want to go with that. I want to go with the 40,000. All right, perfect. Now, Grady, I know that you mentioned to me that your monthly income is approximately $2,200 a month. That being said, on a bad month where maybe, you have a pop tire, maybe, the refrigerator breaks, is this something that you're going to be able to afford? And I wait. Because if he can't, I'm going to bring the coverage down. And I'm going to let him know, hey, Grady, you have no coverage today. Let's just get your foot in the door with the option A for 15. So we know that if something, God forbid, happened tomorrow, Mary has the burial cover. Here's what we're going to do. Word tracks like, here's what we're going to do, allow you to lead, guide, and direct your client. Nobody ever sent a request in about something that they know everything about. They sent the request in because they want more information, but they also don't want to be sold by somebody who doesn't actually, that doesn't care about them, to be quite frank. So you just want to be aware of that as you're going through, because that's the psychology behind the sale, behind the lead. The person needs the information. I've never sent a request in on anything that I actually didn't want information on. So, I don't know about you guys, but people aren't sending them in for fun. So just keep that in the forefront of your brain, no matter what lead type you're working. A lead's a lead's a lead. Okay, so you close, right? Grady's like, nope, if that happened, I feel really good about the $200 a month. Okay, if he feels really good about it, awesome, we're gonna move forward. If he's at all shaky, hesitant, anything about it, we are going to take a step back. That's what I'm going to say. Hey, Grady, I understand, a lot of us think with our hearts, not necessarily always our bank account. I know you want to leave Mary behind as much as you possibly can. Here's what we can do. We can go ahead and let's get you started. If you know option B for the 125 definitely fits the budget, even on the worst month, let's start there. Guys, talk with your clients. Don't just be like, okay, option C, let's get into the app. Because sometimes that's what we want to do. We're scared that they're going to be like, I don't want it anymore. We're scared that they're going to pull back on us. To be honest, I'll rather Grady pull back on me right then and there than pull back on me and cancel after I put the policy in place.
Amen.
Then I get a charge back and then I'm complaining. Don't do that. Ask good questions after the sale. Don't be scared. Even in the application process, when somebody asks me, Grady, can I cancel this? No, Grady, why would you cancel it? Can you cancel it? Yeah. Do people cancel it? No. Like, why would you cancel it? Unless it's not what I tell you it is, right? Like, you're not going to cancel it. If there are anything's like, oh yeah, I'm not writing the deal. I want to know, I want to talk more about that. And then I close it up, I solidify the sale. I let them know, the good news, Grady, is you were approved for that coverage. Congratulations. The bad news is it's a whole life policy, so you're going to be stuck with me for life, okay? Now, this is what I do to solidify the sale, guys. Okay, the whole stuck with me for life, they usually laugh. Like, it gives them like a quick, like, oh, that's not the bad news, right? Usually they say that. Sometimes they don't. And I'm like, oh, man, that is the bad news, right? But after that, this is what I say. And I don't say this necessarily to scare my clients. I say this to raise awareness. And I more recently implemented this. And I hope I don't get you mad here, Grady. If I do, just cut me off. So
Doing great.
I just don't know. It's compliant. It's just very, okay. So this is what I say. All right. So Grady, I'll be the only person reaching out to you as it pertains to this policy. Now, sometimes clients will get weird calls. People will say things like they're my boss, they're my manager, they're the actual insurance company. No one, including the insurance company, would be calling you about this policy aside from me. Now, Grady, it's 2026 and there's so many scams going on out there, right? And they're like, yeah, like, because there are, right? The last thing I want for you, Grady, is for you to answer the phone and you put yourself in a scam situation. If anyone calls you and they're referencing the policy, anything of that sort, hang up on them or give them my number and tell them to call me with any questions that they have. Because Grady, the last thing I want for you and your family is you guys getting scammed. Does that make sense?
Excellent.
Yeah, and then we close it out. Like
that's a keep going, but that just so that do that, everybody do that, because that is so true. The dark web, people are stealing data, and the reality is clients fill out multiple forms. Now, granted, you've got them in a great policy. Is it worth them being manipulated by someone else to save $1? Is it worth hitting the MIB again? Is it worth getting the Milliman and Telescript? Is it worth all? No, the client's protected. The client is happy. They're taken care of. You've got a great policy. We don't need to be futzing around, canceling, and all this stuff with the policies. That is a phenomenal close. Please, go back. We're going to type. Well, I'll ask Jackson to type it out even, but please go. But continue on. But that was phenomenal. And that's what I always ask. How do you solidify your sales? And that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So, and to be honest, guys, like when I went from in-home to telesales, my persistency went down a little bit. And I was like, I need to figure something out that I need to say better. And really, I've implemented a lot since then. And then I'll ask, hey, Grady, is there anybody else that that could benefit from hearing about something like this? And if you say no, all right, cool. If you say, yeah, I'll grab a couple referrals from you. And, you guys will be surprised how many people are willing to give you referrals after you give them good service. So serve them like you would your family, and, they're going to level up. They're going to stay your client for life. And that's what it's all about.
I love it. Wow. 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 Please throw some MMs or a $1 or a $sign or a fire emoji. Give Marysa some love. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for how detailed you shared. I hope everyone can realize this is what you get from a seasoned pro who has proven the test of time of production, of leadership, a skill set you've developed, and you've navigated all the landmines for us and put us in a place where we can walk a straight path. We got to always ask, what are any goals you have? What's your goal for 26? Goal by convention, personal or team? What are we shooting for?
Yeah, so goal for team, we're a bit off right now, Grady, but it's only June, is Agency Hall of Fame. So that's what I'm pushing for. And also having 15 people within the group receiving a VP bonus because it's not all about me anymore. So that's what I'm really excited about.
That's an awesome goal. Wow. So VP bonus, guys, comes when you have someone in your agency doing 150,000 or more. Now that also counts for your total volume, but 15 people are at VP level. Tremendous. And it's free money from corporate, right? This is on top of your incredibly high comp, the carrier trips, FFL's trips, the carrier bonuses, FFL bonuses as well. So all part of your compensation package here. And what a selfless goal. So Marysa, this has been a true joy. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing. We'll get this pushed out here as fast as we can because it was so gosh darn good. And I'm just so grateful to you. Any final thoughts you've got to everybody out there that's like, that's on, they're not on the fence. They're on our side, but we don't want them to get pulled back over to the dark side. Any final thoughts you've got to send us home?
Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. So if you're out there and you're like, I'm not too talented, it doesn't matter. If you can hustle, you have a work ethic, you're here, you're for it, you're the person who's going to win over the person with talent. So keep going, just keep running. When things are hard, keep running. Tunnel vision.
I love it. Perfect. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you, Grady. Take care. Make it a great one.
Too. Have an awesome day. All right, everybody. That was another one for the record books. So good. Thank you to her. And I mean, I thank you for the scars that she has, meaning like she's been through it. You don't sell insurance for this long, build a team to her level without having seen a ton. And what she's giving to you guys is the best stuff she's got. Is what she gives her team. It's what she gives her direct agents. What she's given to the entire company because she wants everyone to get better. Because at FFL, we have a servant's mindset. We have a mindset that there's an endless pool of potential clients to serve and an endless pool of agents that we can support. So truly grateful to her and to the time. We have an incredible moment of Zen, which I'll introduce in a second, but we got a great call coming up for you next week. Please join us live. Without further ado, the moment of Zen today is one of my personal mentors. Now, Grant, I've met him in person once, and incredible man, but he has an audio called The Psychology of Selling. And I would highly encourage you to go look it up. This is Brian Tracy. But if this is your career and this is what you're doing, this is how you're trying to take care of your family, how good can you get at this business? How good can you get? We talk all the time about two things. You've got skills and you got knowledge, right? Well, Brian's about to give you some knowledge to improve your skills. So there's a quick little clip from Brian Tracy. But on top of that, look for the whole audio. It's okay. You're fine. I know I paused, but Natasha's ready to play it. So here we go. Here's your moment of Zen. Have a great week. We'll see you next week and enjoy the moment of Zen. Bye for now.
In selling, the major obstacle is often objections that customers give you that stop them from buying and stop you from selling. So let me show you 9 different objections that you will get on a regular basis, and you must learn how to recognize these objections and to deal with them effectively. The first type of objection you will get is an unspoken objection. The customer has concerns with your offering, but doesn't tell you anything. The solution to unspoken objections is to let the prospect talk more. Ask open-ended questions like what and where and when and how and how. Why and who and how and so on. Lean forward. Listen intently to the answers and nod. The more a prospect has an opportunity to answer your questions, the more likely it is that he or she will tell you exactly what might be holding them back from buying. Ask good questions and listen carefully to the answers. The second form of objections you will get is excuses. Now, these are usually instinctive reactions to any sales approach. They're not personal. Excuses are not really serious either. The best salespeople, when they get an excuse, they just nod and smile and agree, and then they ask a question to take control of the conversation. The very best way to handle any initial sales resistance, including excuses and impulse responses, is with these wonderful words. Person says, I can't afford it, I'm not in the market, we don't need it right now, we don't want it, and so on. You say, that's all right. Most people in your situation felt the same way when I first called on them, but now they have become our best customers and they recommend us to their friends and family. This immediately stops people and causes them to say, oh really? Well, what is it that you have then? and their objections just fall away like scaffolding falling down outside a building. The next type of objections are called malicious objections. Because you call on many different people, you'll occasionally call on individuals who are unhappy or angry about their current situations. Since they cannot shout at their bosses or their spouses, they take it out on the friendly salesperson. They take it out on you. Now, these people tend to be negative in their demeanor and behavior. The way to deal with malicious objections is to realize that you are not the target. Your job as a professional is to remain calm, confident, positive, and polite throughout, and then just ask more questions about what the customer is doing and what their plans are for the future. You take control by asking questions. The fourth most common type of objection is a request for information. This is the best type of objection for you to hear because you know how to answer this as well or better than any other part of your presentation. Whenever a prospect asks for information about the results or benefits of your product or service, you're moving into an excellent field position to make a sale. Another type of objection is the show-off objection. Sometimes prospects try to show you how much they already know about your products and services. They make sophisticated observations, or they ask you complex questions about your product or service or industry. When this happens, respond by taking the low road. Show how impressed you are by how much the prospect already knows. Boy, you know a lot about this. I didn't realize that. Wow. In other words, flattery is a wonderful way to build a good quality relationship. Remember, when you make a prospect feel important, by listening to him or her with rapt attention, the prospect is much more likely to warm up and buy from you in the end. The sixth most common type of objection is a subjective or personal objections. Now, these objections are aimed at you as a person. Whenever a prospect becomes critical of you, it could be a sign that you are talking too much about yourself. If this happens, it's important to make the customer the center of attention, and the subjective objections will stop. How do you do that? You start asking questions about the customer and listening closely to the answers. You may also hear the objective or factual objection. Now, these are directed at your product or service offering and the claims that you make in terms of what it will do for the customer. If you can answer an objective question like, how does this work? And how can I be sure it will do this? And what kind of proof do you have? If you can answer this type of objection, you can often close the sale. People often ask objective objections or factual objections when they're just about ready to buy and they just need a little more reassurance. The eighth most common form of objection is what we have called general sales resistance. This always occurs at the beginning of a presentation. Until you neutralize this general sales resistance, the customer will be listening to you with a closed mind. When the customer relaxes and gives you permission to ask him questions, you immediately begin your pre-selected, open-ended questions to qualify the prospect and find out what he really needs that you can provide for him. For example, I have found if you just say, may I ask you a question? If the prospect says yes, or may I ask you a couple of questions? When the prospect says yes, the prospect has also said, I will answer the questions if you ask them. This is a wonderful way to break the ice and lower resistance. The ninth most common objection is called the last-ditch objection. Now, you've made your presentation and the prospect clearly sees how she would be better off with your product or service. She knows and understands what you're selling and how much you're asking. She's on the verge of making a buying decision, but she still hesitates. In this case, you listen with respect to their final objections and then assure the prospect that yours is an excellent product or service at a good price and that everyone who is using it today is very happy with their decision. You have then overcome the last-ditch objection and you can go on to close the sale.